Hey guys, I have two VOD reviews on the docket for today for both DPS players. This map, Hollywood, for Jimante, and then after this, Fruit 66 from the following scrim for Skade. Probably on Sunday, I will do VOD reviews for remaining players, but I want to give everyone a chance to suggest maps first. So far, these are the two of you that have suggested maps. This is May on attack, and then on defense, Ash, and briefly Cast, and then Torp. So there's a pretty big variety of different contexts that we get to see things in here. This makes it a good map to look at, but let's keep in mind that the sample of different types of gameplay is a little bit limited. You'll see what I mean by that as we go. But seeing as this is a DPS VOD review and I am more inclined to go into micro, I think it's one where it makes sense to look at it as we go along. So without further ado, play. Okay, I have to start it. We're playing a bunker comp that is very poke focused. The other team is playing Talon Dive. There was some discussion about how to position here. Rather than worrying about the specifics of this map, let's just consider the overall intent. We want to make them cross spaces that we have sight on before they can engage onto us. And this will enable all of our characters to damage them before they reach a close range fight. In that close range fight, they will have the advantage, but we will hopefully have outweighed that advantage by damaging them and reducing their resources before that fight begins. That's how it has to work. If things go very well, they may not reach you at all. If things go very poorly, they will reach you with insufficient damage taken, and then you will disintegrate, which is what is about to happen. So, there are a number of factors that go into why, and we'll just be focused on the Ashe aspects of those. So, for the DPS players to be here in the beginning is fine. You can sort of see the reason why I don't want the whole team set up here. The other team is able to get somewhat uncomfortably close before we get any vision on them. And more importantly, because we don't know the other team will be on dive, if they were to have any snipers or any kind of poke, they would have quite an advantageous position to shoot at you, and you would have a harder time shooting back at them. This is why I wasn't so fond of this spot. But he should be here now. Both Jimante and Skade to get some poke and then retreat back. His shot on the dynamite got matrixed, although the dynamite itself did not. That's too bad. Their diva is doing their job. So giving up the space quickly is good. He sees that it's going to be people coming soon. And you are correct to try to coach gun up there. And I think you just didn't... So it's a combination of not placing it on the ground exactly where you wanted to and not air strafing hard enough. Let's go back. Okay. So there's two problems here. The coach gun is going to work like it logically should, unlike some knockback effects in Overwatch, and it will just give you momentum in the complete opposite direction that the gun was pointed. And you can see, right now, the coach gun is pointed down sufficiently, but it's pointed the wrong way in terms of which direction you want to go along the ground. You're pushing yourself away from where you wanted to go. I think there might be some concern about accidentally going onto the roof, and if that is a concern, then you just fire the coach gun at more of a 45-degree angle into the ground. But it does need to be in the direction you want to go. You could have air strafed harder, and scoping in is going to reduce your air strafe speed, as much as that makes no sense. It does. So, lands into some awkward spot, and we can see he hasn't dealt any damage yet. Part of this is that they did matrix the shot on the dynamite. He needs to be in a better position. If he's up top, there's a lot of free damage here, and the Bob needs to be farmed, and vitally, you need to start bleeding out their healing resources, especially from the Mora. This is very crucial downtime. So at this point now, the most important thing that you want to do is get into a somewhat greedier position from which you can get more aggressive farm. But you can see you miss a cycle of this rotation where you had an opportunity to damage them while they were up here because of the missed mechanics on the coach gun jump. And now they've done the second stage of the rotation, and they're still not damaged. Okay. And this coach gun is now a second mistake. Because it's given up positioning that you need to do damage in the interest of being safer. But you are on the clock here because the other team is trying to play faster than you. They are going to make stuff happen. That's what their game plan is. Actually, right now they're just generating point pressure, which is a little bit of a slower clock, but it's still a clock. And you can see clock is progressing, both in terms of them creeping up on your teammates and in terms of the point ticking. And he's still in a position in here. You don't have vision on the point. This Reaper is not even something that you need to be super stressed out about. He's alone, and he shouldn't be able to do much by himself. The thing I would be concerned about is that their Moira's heal resource is probably almost full. They have no damage taken across any characters on their team, and you haven't really farmed ult. And all of these things tie into each other, which is that you haven't been in a position to deal damage since you were up here. I know part of it is the missed mechanics on the coach gun jump, which that was just a mistake. But it's also being here is a decision. And you can see, although Skade's damage output is not great, it exists because he's being greedier and taking a little bit more of a risk. You could be even greedier than he is and actually stand right next to your diva. I think that trying to worry about this Reaper is just not valuable to you. Your backline and supports have to be on this. If any DPS is going to do this, Hanzo should. This is a good Dynamite. So far, 2 Dynamites haven't had the chance to do anything. The first one was their counterplay. The second one, you didn't have a position to leverage it. This one is now good. But you can see the difference of this scenario with 3 Dynamites versus 1 is very large. The Bob ult charge is now ticking up. The enemy team is now expending Moira resources. Look at that. See that, Moira? The Moira actually having to use left click is very important. I don't think that it should be underestimated that chip damage matters a lot more here because of that healing resource limitation. And pressuring her is good. Pressuring her is good. You got booped off. Your diva is dead. And at the end of the day, the problem, it's already too late because not enough damage was done. Right now, you probably need to just throw the dynamite on the ground for ult charge before you die. And that gets missed. This can be done just as a suicidal gesture to get more ult charge. You can simply throw it right on the ground and then shoot it directly while it's still sitting there. It will hit some enemies. And any self-damage you do that kills yourself is actually good because they're not getting ult charge off of it. That's extremely micro. I'm just pointing out that dying with cooldowns up is usually a missed resource because they are recharging while you're in spawn and walking back and so on. Okay, so he comes back. Oh, I have another extremely micro thing. I just like to talk about extremely micro things with DPS because I'm more likely to know them. You're gonna respawn. Yeah, wait for him to respawn. You're gonna respawn. You can get out of a hallway like this marginally faster by just turning 180 degrees and firing a coach gun perpendicular to the ground. Make sure it's not pointing too far downward or you will hit the ceiling. And it'll shoot you forward like, I don't know, 10, 15 feet. And because the cooldown will come back before you're out of spawn anyways, it's just free extra time. It's pretty inconsequential, but it's just a trick you can use. And I feel like, okay, so this is a good coach gun jump. I'm glad also just the game sense, or it's not really game sense, but game knowledge, that this is about the maximum height that a coach gun jump can be used for, and you can get onto this building with it. I wouldn't be surprised if the knowledge of the height of this building went into that decision, because Ash would be much, much worse on this map without that. But I may have cut myself off. But why do I care about things like the coach gun out of the spawn hallway? It's because it helps you stay engaged with your mechanics during a time when you would otherwise maybe just be sort of starting to, not daydream, but think about things purely abstractly. It helps keep your hands going, basically. And I think it just, it keeps you It's not about being warmed up. It's about keeping that part of your brain active all the time in game. I can't tell if that also got Matrix, but that is more what you want. We can get a little bit more picky and say that you want to be at a slight off angle to the right of where you're currently standing to throw it so that you're not putting it directly into the D.Va's face and it comes from the side. You just have a better vision. I like this spot a lot better, and I would have liked it even more if the dynamite had come from this angle. Okay. He's backing up. You have a bit of a decision to make here because you did lose your Orisa up there and they can't get back. I would strongly consider Coach gunning back up there, but you may not have realized that their tanks fell, so that's fair. That was a good try. That was where you wanted it. I like this as well because you're just farming Ultra Age based stuff where you think that they might be. Shoot him. Some of your shots on Ashe are a little bit more careful than I would like. I often have to tell people not to just spam mindlessly, but you're going to the opposite side of that sometimes, and watch. I didn't even pause in time, because to be fair, this is a tight window, but look. He's big, obviously. So I know you don't want to miss, but just flick to him, because he is going to be putting his shield up, and he is supposed to be getting Matrix soon. You want that extra shot, and you can see that does go into the shield, because you waited until he was on a downward path where the shot would be guaranteed. But once he's on the downward path, he can place his shield. So, you want to be greedy. Good. Going for that. That was somewhat reasonable. Poke him. Pays off, doesn't it? It pays off there that you played very carefully, but you're still often not shooting as many times as you could within a certain time frame by doing that. He does live. I like where you choose to position here because you have redundancy in terms of what can save you. There's this physical cover, and then there's your brick shield. I think they would have gotten some of your teammates if they had not done the EMP too late, but they wouldn't have gotten you. You can simply run away. Oh no, they had no follow-up. They really screwed that up. This is the consequence of these EMP bombs. It's very all or nothing, and if it doesn't go off, then there's not much other follow-up for the EMP because you've chosen to give up your D.Va in order to throw the bomb. Their D.Va is still remacking, only now remax. Very good dynamite. The fight might be already too back and forth for this to be fight winning, but this is the dynamites that you need in this matchup. You really need to leverage the fact that they're clumped up and get these dynamites, and it is going to be difficult because they know that that's their weakness and they're going to play around it. But when you get these, I mean, look, see how much ult charge? That'll give you Bob very fast, but also their Moira has to heal that, and then they don't have the amount of juice to go in. Somewhat unlucky, but I also still think your aiming style is a little bit too much on placing it on the target and not being twitchy and getting it onto them. If it's a Lucio and you want to like place your crosshair and wait for him to walk into it and react, that aiming style would probably work for that situation. But again, Monkey big. You can feel comfortable flicking on him even if your flicking isn't that precise because you'll still at least get body shot damage most of the time. I also wonder why you don't use the technique to just hit the dynamites. That was one of the few that the miss was unforced. See. A more sharp flick would make these hits on the monkey more consistent. It doesn't feel like a consistent style of aiming, but because he's big, and because you don't even need the headshot in this situation, he's facing away from you, you should do more of a sharp movement. I think it'll help that. Here you consider using Bob. I can tell you consider using Bob because you pause from shooting a second to look at where the Bob would go. Then you take a couple more shots, and you're not sure. Based on what you see through the walls and your own teammates, you can throw Bob now. I would peek corner throw him now. The Bob gets thrown too late, and the fight is still won, but there are some consequences of it. Watch. Now is especially he has to go to cart right now. And now you can't place him quite where you want him to, right? Because you gave them space to get onto you. This is a concept that I'm talking to pretty much everyone about, which is to use your ult as early as it can legitimately be used, because it preempts the other team making a move. There's always this thing where they say no plan survives contact with the enemy, right? I don't know where that's from. That sounds like United States World War II lore or something. And this is true, but it's not actually totally black and white. The more proactive your enemy is, the less likely your plan is to work. If your enemy is very passive and just sits there, then you actually can more or less follow your plan, because they won't do anything to disrupt it. If your enemy is very aggressive and proactive, then your plan can get wrecked before you even start it. This is why good teams in Overwatch are so aggressive, because they know you have a plan and they don't want you to execute it. So there's two elements of this. One, when you know what your plan is, you move your ass on getting that plan into place to give them as little time to disrupt you as you can. And two, they have a plan which you can disrupt by implementing yours right away. This is a pretty minor case, but consider the Bob could have come out before the Coalescence would have. This could disrupt them more as Coalescence. Probably not, because they're going to use Coalescence in response to Bob anyways. But more importantly, you had a good spot that you wanted Bob, and he's not going to be quite there. He's going to be a little bit off in his position because your plan got disrupted. But there was window for it not to, because you were looking where you wanted him to go, and you could just press Q. You can't really be saved here. The thing that would have saved you, that would have bought you the space to live here, would have been your own Bob, if he had come out sooner. Bob is not taking that much damage. Okay, now he is, but like actually he's not taking that much damage in the grand scheme of things. He's probably doing well. You're not getting any damage. Okay, you switch. So, if you're going to switch in this situation, it is a good time to, because you have no ult charge anyways, and because it's a close range fight in your Ashe. I would probably not choose this because it's a little slow and you don't know if you're going to win yet. And you do win, but you probably shouldn't. It was sort of an upset that you win this fight. I think that Reaper or Sombra would be good choices here, because they'll get you there fast. Reaper teleport, Sombra obviously sprinting while invisible, and they'll be effective at close range. Another possibility would be to go Soldier, which would sacrifice the effective at close range part a little bit, but also be very fast. With Cass, you have effective at close range, kinda, but you are very slow, and you do roll immediately, which is good, and it's kind of the same concept as I said with the Ashe Coach Gun. It's okay, and then you just look right on cooldown. Man, this is the thing I was yelling at Taco about, where he waited like a millisecond, not a millisecond, he waited like 0.5 seconds, which is 500 milliseconds, to shield bash as Brig when he was in a hurry. There's no half a second here. This is really good, and this is where I hype on those micro things that have almost no gameplay effects, because of what it illustrates about sort of the mindset. You're pretty much, yeah, that boop is actually helpful. You'd rather be here, although that shield is very annoying. Micro mistake that you don't want to fan the hammer if you have low ammo, because it won't work. I mean, it works, but it's ineffective. And you could have also just fanned him as well, but I feel like you thought he was going to continue moving, and he didn't. That's a good shot to kill him anyways. The D.Va gets pressured out. You can take a little more space here, but there's going to be D.Va. I would fan her once. Shield. Don't even, yeah, she's low enough you don't need to. Good. She's done. You should almost never fan those, because it's kind of a bad habit. She will die in one hit to a primary fire to the body through the window. In this case, there's almost no way you would miss the kill no matter what, but I say this because I see people play this character and flash a Tracer and then try to fan her from like maximum stun range, and it doesn't kill her. That was fun. We're pretty much just getting people off a card here. Yeah, okay. Ideally, you would have reloaded and then stun, because you don't have very many teammates up to finish the kill for you. This fan is fine. Oh, here's a very interesting one. Watch what happens here. He's at like 150 HP. You do need to roll this. You do need to roll that. Wow, he looks so good through the googly eyes. This has to be rolled. I understand that, I guess this is the thing where you're transitioning from at a rank where you're playing with people who are kind of spaghetti to playing at a rank with people who are more on point. And, like, there's a whole spectrum of skill, but, like, he's not going to hit this every time like a higher ranked player would, but watch. Oh, no, never. That wasn't as good as I thought. I thought he was going to one-shot you from, like, 150 HP, which he easily could at that range. He actually doesn't place the shot right, and it takes him 2 more. but that's still a really fast time to kill, and you have to roll away from him. And basically what I'm saying is I'm giving sort of sympathy points here because you probably play with people who will screw that up and you can just kill them. But start having higher expectations of your opponents. I think that in Plat and above, the Reaper should at least two-shot you in that situation, which he does. This fight is still going on. The other team should probably do a regroup, and I think they do. But it might be awkward, like, roll. Okay. He doesn't gain control of his character immediately in respawn, so that is still a fast roll. And now you hold your roll because you don't know for sure what the fight situation is, which is good. But you need to get the high ground, and unfortunately, because you are a little bit of a slow character and you can't do anything about this, they're getting over here. I agree with not taking that elevator. As a matter of fact, you could have, because they all rotated into this building, but you didn't know that. He doesn't have wall hacks. Now they're here. I'm sure he's calling it immediately. That is kind of mismicro to throw the stun into that because the shield was up for like 5 minutes. And you probably are not surviving this. This is worth a try, but it's no dice. They took too much space. I don't really have an answer for you in that situation because I understand staying cast. You had full ult and it was in between fights, but you are so slow. And that was kind of the consequence of picking him in the first place. You are so slow. I understand fully not wanting to go Tracer in that situation, though. You might also consider that high noon is just not great against their comp. They're just going to run you over. Case in point. I'm surprised that they regrouped that fast at this rank, though, so fair enough. Once you're on low ground and they already made that rotation, your team is up there and they've taken no poke damage, and like your team actually doesn't poke that effectively anymore. No, not great. Now I think we're gonna get a Rhine here, and you switch. This is where Torb. Okay, your Rossi has to get spawn camped before they can switch. Torb here. In theory, Torb is actually his matchup against this comp very bad. This is actually not the matchup the Torb wants. The Torb ends up being quite effective here, and we will go into why it was, but it should be ineffective. And why is that? Well, the Torb turret is very effective against enemies that want to be partly invested in attacking you. We're talking about Tracers that are poking from the sides, Wrecking Balls that are poking from the sides, Echoes that are poking from above. The turret forces them to spend healing resources whenever they want to do that and feed you ultimate. And if they're not careful and they stay in for too long, it does a lot of damage and potentially kills them. What this comp should be doing is engaging so quickly that there's one window where they're not in LS of the turret, and there's another window where the fight is already over one way or the other, and only within that window, between those two times can the turret shoot, and that time is so short that the turret will do 200 damage or something. Also, there's many risks that if the turret is close enough that it can see them, they'll just run over the turret and destroy it almost instantly. Those are your main hazards in this matchup. Because they don't do either of those things, the turret works great. This spot for the turret is fine. Assuming that your team is going to hold in here, by the time they get anywhere remotely close, the turret will be able to shoot. Oh, another thing to keep in mind, it seems like every team at this level has this problem that they don't know who should shoot the turret. If the turret is in the open, even with a pixel of it showing, and you aren't with it, their Lucio should just kill the turret. He has no damage fall off. He can just stand still and place his crosshair on it and fire 3 bursts, and it should kill the turret. I believe that's enough damage. His bullets are 25, and they're 4, so that's 100 each, and the turret is 250 HP. So yeah, he could do it with that many bursts. Unless my math is wrong, and it's only 20 per Lucio bullet. Oh, it's only 20 per Lucio bullet. So 80 times 3. Oh, he has to do a fourth. Sucks to be Lucio. The point is, he can still kill it from afar. And they don't need his damage for anything, so it's a good idea for him to do that. You know, I should have known that, that it wasn't 25 per bullet, because the Lucio could kill a 200 HP healer with a perfect burst if it was. Okay, so you're gonna get your line back. You're gonna wait a little bit, and now you're pretty much playing Brawl with the soldier. Torb is not really a Brawl character, because he has the same problem in Brawl Mirrors as he does as I just described against Talon. But he's not a bad Brawl character either, because like he has respectable damage and he's tanky enough that he can roll in close combat if he needs to. Early. This is a comms thing. It looks like he's just overloading for no reason if you don't know. But you knew that your Brig was about to rally, because he probably said he was going to. But do wait until after your Brig has already rallied to pop Overload. Overload should be used at the last second, because you want to have as much of that overload timer going. Like, it's 5 seconds, and over 1.5-ish of that has already been used, right? Without you shooting anything. Do not use the shotgun here. The shotgun sucks. The shotgun is extremely narrow. Use the shotgun when you have your gun pushed straight into an enemy tank or similarly sized character where you can't miss anything and then do it. If a character is like 10 feet away from you and they're not Roadhog size, it's already so, like, the shotgun is really bad. It's horrible. The only reason Torb is not overpowered is because the shotgun is essentially unusable. If he had a shotgun, not even like Reaper, obviously that'd be OP. If he had a shotgun that was even just somewhat worth using, he would be incredible. That's a nice dink. See, okay, these primary shot, again, I think you have to flick a lot more vigorously for some of these. And just like, oh, overload when the BAP uses window is great. Take a wide, okay, you probably don't know they're hiding around the corner. It's unfortunate that it doesn't do more damage. Your D.Va's getting demeched unnecessarily here. Oh, he should just run away. It's only one Reaper. Unlucky that you wasted bomb. Not obviously something that's any responsibility of yours. I think the turret took 1 damage from the D.Va accidentally shooting it. Don't worry about that. Okay, so you move the turret into a much greedier position. I think the turret did okay, though. Can we see when the turret was shooting during the previous fight, if it was? I don't know if there's an... It looks like it is. I think that lock-on there is the turret. So, you are right that in some of these cases, the turret is not locking on because enemies are 9 miles away from it. But the enemies being 9 miles away from it is because you're winning. Your team was never planning to be this far up, I don't think. Or maybe they were. And in that case, this is not what I thought they were going to do. Okay. So we switched to an extremely greedy turret position. It's extremely greedy because if the Lucio doesn't kill it now, I mean, come on, man. Maybe he won't. But it's not going to be missing any damage, that's for sure. So you probably want to find something in between this in terms of greediness. Like, you could place the turret maybe... Actually, where you're standing right now is even slightly better. Or maybe a little bit to the left of where you're standing right now. Let the turret have some angles, but also let the turret have some cover so it's not exposed to every angle. We'll see. I think you generally do not want to waste Molten Core time repairing the turret. If the turret is taking so much damage that that's required, the increased hammer speed to heal it, it's probably dead anyway. You want to get that damage for yourself to get the lava. And they're not pushing in. I mean, the turret is getting damage. This lag is on my end while I'm in game. I do need to fix my computer. That's just... I'll have to deal with that. It does go away pretty soon. Just spam more aggressively down main when you have that up. No worries. Okay. Oh. I think this is too soon. The shield is still up and it's going to be a problem. The other thing... I never got a chance to tell Skade this because he did the same thing when he played this character, I think on King's Row. But watch the lava placement. Blah, 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 blah. Each glob covers a pretty large area. And if they overlap, the damage does not stack, obviously. Otherwise, like, a primal monkey would land on a full glob of all of it and just instantly die. So, like, also, you have quite a long time. This bar is how long you have to throw it, and watch how high the bar is when he runs out of lava. See? He used, I think you had the bar at, like, sorry. It was, worst case scenario, it was, like, 2/3 still remaining. I think it had even more than 2/3. So you have a lot of time. Placing it fast is good mechanics, and you'll see pro players place it fast. But that's because they can go boom, 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 and cover a bunch of areas. When you're learning how to do this, place it deliberately. Go blop, 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 and then reposition blop, 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 and get lava coverage as much area as you can. And if you don't have anything left and there's a shield in Matrix or whatever, just chuck it into their backline or put it somewhere random. The lava is going to last a while, and they'll wander onto it. You can see you've given them an easy way of dealing with the lava in terms of they're not likely to screw this up because it's pretty overlapped and it's all just in a line in front. So they can't cross that line, but the same could have been accomplished with maybe 2 or 3 lava globs, and then you could have thrown the remaining... I don't know how many you get. I think you get 8. Let's see how many he gets. I went back too far. That's a lot. That might be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get 10. Jeez. Put them everywhere. Okay. Breaking that is good so it doesn't stop any shots. The turret gets moved back to a safer spot. Oh. Why do you die here? Something I've been telling everyone. Okay. You're trying to move forward to get with your teammates, and this requires you to cross an open space, and they throw D.Va Bomb. That's pretty scary. Your Reinhardt is not hacked. Your D.Va is. But you're determined to save yourself using hardcover, and you don't have overload to get there, and you go for the hardcover, just run to your Reinhardt. Whoops, that was very poorly drawn. Just run to your Reinhardt. Run to your Reinhardt and hope that they save you. If the Reinhardt does not save you, then the Reinhardt is probably going to die, in which case the fact that you died with them isn't that bad. The team will probably have to regroup anyways. This situation is a little dicey because you might need card contests, but it's a good concept. More importantly, you pretty much know that you don't have time to get this far. You need to roll the dice on the Reinhardt being able to save you. I'm just telling you guys that, you also have to weigh the current situation. Everybody on the team is dying to D.Va Bombs that do not need to kill them because they're not relying on Reinhardt. Nobody is dying to D.Va Bombs because they over-relied on Reinhardt when Reinhardt couldn't help them. If you guys were doing that, I would say, adjust the pendulum. But the pendulum is very far in favor of every man for himself. It doesn't need to be, though. The Reinhardt did successfully save himself and could have saved you. Just stand on him. Run straight toward him. And, yep. And probably pretty hard to recontest this now. He has no choice. So you don't want to use this in spawn if you can avoid it, but you have to get back. Toss the turret. The turret could have been tossed behind that box to make it live slightly longer, but fair enough. It's going to instantly die. It's not instantly dead. Whoops, they screwed up. Okay, but, come on. That's not safe. That's not salvageable. Okay. I'm talking about a lot of micro. Let's do sort of a summary. How do you play against Talon Dive when you're not Talon Dive? I think someone after this round said, oh, now I see why Talon Dive is good. This team played it well because they knew how to not stand out in the open for too long. And when they attacked, they were decisive about it. Those are the two most important things. Your counterplay to this is you have to poke them. You have to put a high priority on poking them, and you have to sort of know all of the little tricks that go into that, which is why I'm emphasizing micro. Your mindset is don't let them get space and get close to my team without having to pay for it. To pay for it with their health bars, with their resources, and their cooldowns, and so on. And accept some risk to yourself in order to do that, because you should have tools. You'll have your coach gun. You'll have the fact that their range damage is just awful. You'll have tools that will help you stay alive. That was using Ashe as an example, but various heroes will have stuff. The Torb poked pretty well. Even though it theoretically has a hard time doing so. But you have different characters that can poke. And I think it will be an experience thing, because in competitive, solo queue ranked, nobody attacks decisively like this because people are giga babies, and also they don't trust their teammates at all. In a scrim, people will charge forward YOLO as a big blob of 6, and you have to then adapt to the environment of, oh, I have 2 seconds to DPS them, and it's got to be big. And yeah, I think that just getting used to that transition is what's at work here. You'll pick up how it's done. Hearing me rant about all sorts of different micro examples will give you, I hope, the type of thinking that players use to troubleshoot this. I don't want to overdwell on this because there was also just spaghetti that was dropped that was not your fault, as always happens, and because, there's a lot of different variety of stuff. We'll see playing poke into Talon Dive in more examples in other scrims, so. The next round, okay, is going to be, wait, is this, how did I do this? Here we go. This will be Brawl, and I think we just play this for the whole attack, and I think it actually works. So we can get some May gameplay review in a more sensible environment than when we did it with the weird Havana game. Let's go. Whoop. That probably could have been a headshot. I think you slid on the car. Nice try. The target was identified, and I think that's the most important thing. Wall. Here's, I think, a mistake with this wall. So, micro-wise, the wall is not quite as far to the left as you wanted it to be. Whoops. That's okay. However, this is what I think is the actual issue. Oh. You broke the wall. There's two reasons to break walls. One, the wall is accidentally doing more harm than good. Clearly not the case with this wall. Two, the wall is just doing nothing and you want to get the cooldown back faster. I feel like that was the thinking that went into breaking this wall. However, although that wall was not perfect, it was far from doing nothing. Yes, they can escape from it by slipping through that gap between your wall and the actual wall. But the fact that they have to do that is still good. And it gives your team space to engage. And I think that dismissing the wall prevented you from getting a lot of positives out of that wall that it was still providing, had you let it just sit there. Their Junkrat is clearly still making the same mistake, and he does get picked for it. And we can see you may not get another chance to do another proper wall. That wall was good. It was placed better. But, problem, it was too late. You have to consider that this is a long cooldown, and you kind of got to take what you got with the wall that you use. It would have to be really totally ineffective, like you accidentally put it up here or something, in order to consider dismissing it that quickly. Take what you got out of a wall, pretty much, is what I'm saying. So you'll just back up and get some poke here. Reasonable. Considering that the other team cannot poke you at all, you could be a little bit more brave. Again, I think that Skate is sometimes a little bit too brave, and you guys should find something that's in the middle of what you're doing, because he was running quite far forward. I like where you are. So we get another try at this wall. Oh, wall. This wall is now perfectly positioned. It could have been done a little earlier, but he's not escaping anyways. And this wall now secures this kill. This is a great synergy. Once the BAP window goes up, wall, prevent escape. It prevents escape. Did that time out or is that dismissed? I actually can't tell. Leaving it up until a team runs in and then putting it down is fair, right? Free? Okay. Looks like something booped you. I'm going to comment later that I think you were too trigger happy with Ice Block. That one, though, I don't mind, even though you were technically in no danger, because you didn't know that the McCree wasn't around the corner. And if he was on your side, it would have been necessary. It's still a little fast compared to trying to 180 shoot him and then do it, because he does have a lock-on time, but, you know, that one is fair. Freeze. Yep. I was going to say switch to cast first. Okay, these people need primary icicles, and primary icicles are there. Because you have wall, you should probably just start using it to separate them to make them die faster. I feel like it's not entirely obvious how to use it here, and you might be trying to track target focus. See how the Rhine is able to come back in? You should probably just throw random walls, either to block that doorway that he came through, or just in general, so that they can't regroup. Freeze pressure on him is good. Okay, you did it there. That's the right idea. 2 nice shots. 1 misses. You're knocked into the air. Okay. Teammate follows it up. That's good. That's fine. There's still a McCree alive. I think you might not be hearing the audio. Oh. That wall will be easier if you turn it and have it stick outward. But the D.Va's dead anyways. You're fine. You're fine. I mean, a lot of micro. And I also don't mind this because you didn't know that they weren't recontesting. Yep. Those are low percentage, but they could hit. You do have ult, so it may not really matter, but... You also don't know that Skate isn't going to fire an arrow that'll hit somebody in the body through that, and then you would kill them if you hit them as well. It's always worth going for that stuff. Can place that slightly higher to guarantee the shield down. No, I think that was wrong. I'm afraid that because your crosshair positioning isn't perfectly careful, that you're going to accidentally just shoot the building. But you actually want to fire at the Reinhardt in such a way that it will hit his body if he drops his shield to make him keep the shield up. And your crosshair is positioned perfectly to accomplish that. But you can, see, you're kind of flirting with the idea of accidentally hitting the building because you're not being quite as precise. That one might have accidentally hit the building. Stacking up. There's a lot of comms going on, and we can see the effects of you following them, even though we don't hear them. On cart, this is somewhat difficult. You probably need to do a relatively early blizzard. That's good. Ooh. Finding that angle to prevent them falling, I would just blizzard him. There's probably a window before the D.Va dropped. Oh, but now the blizzard gets used. This is a good example of something. Watch. Okay. So what's the problem with this blizzard? There's a very surface level where the problem is you just get stunned, but no. Because you getting stunned is a consequence of something that already happened. Once they drop Riptire, your team's focus is going to be on the Riptire. They don't want to die to the Riptire. Resources are being diverted to that. And going for your own play while the Riptire is up is going to be a lot more difficult because, most likely, you will not receive support, either little or none, because so much attention is being put on the Riptire. So your D.Va is certainly thinking about the Riptire, and there's going to be no Matrix for you. You probably just die. You do die. And not only that, no one is charging into this because of the Riptire. So, the point is, your teammates have resources that they have to decide how to divert. And part of a game sense thing is, it's not even about what they should do or what they could do in theory. It's about, in the moment, what are they going to do? And there's no doubt in my mind, nor do I think there'll be any doubt in yours when you think about it, that every person is going to put all of their priority on the Riptire when they hear it coming. So that means that if you go for Blizzard, you probably have no one helping you. Realizing that in a split second in game is a little bit harder, and that's why game sense is an experience-based thing. Your team will probably die here because they're down 1 DPS and you're down 2. They have no damage. There's just no damage. You jump over that. When I was watching another person on this map, it was a different tryout. He walked onto it and triggered it. And then I said one of my most micro annoyances ever, which is that you shouldn't activate elevators unless it's deliberate. But I don't know if you jumped over it just because it kind of feels natural to do it, or like if there's any reason. But I always make sure I don't trigger them, unless I have a reason to, because you never know, even in an irrelevant elevator like that, if you're preventing a teammate from taking it. I love that you knew he was there and tried. If he'd uncrouched, he would have been headshot. We can go for a wall play. Wall? Ooh, this is what I'm talking about with a little bit of baby mode with the ice block. First of all, he just shattered the hay bales. So you go into ice block quite some time before the D.Va bomb will actually detonate, which is a consistent thing. And you could have used a wall. Oh, he actually hit the D.Va. I don't know. Maybe that hay bale doesn't block it. Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyways, the wall could potentially be used to save people from the bomb. It may not matter in this situation, but you're sitting in ice block for so long, right, before it detonates, and your reaction to get out of it, you waste no time. You waste no time, but you waste time when you go into it early. This is probably death, right? Okay. If you're having trouble with the high ground, switches could be considered here, but they're actually not resetting high ground, so it's not really important after all. Nice, you could use walls to prevent escape here as well. Mainly, though, he's just exploiting the fact that they don't account for dragons when they're thinking about map geometry. You can get very far as Hanzo doing that. Break it. I guess that was to stop healing on him. That's reasonable. Probably want to keep putting freeze pressure and break the lamp, but you're doing all that stuff, kind of. Yeah, okay. Again, the cast is higher priority, and you need to use audio to know where he is. He did hit you once. Freeze pressure, good. And they're just booping her all over the place. Okay, you got her. Stay with Ryan. Make sure somebody is on cart and stay with Ryan. This, people were confused about why this fight was lost. I think it was because Hedge didn't have LOS and Luna for a long time, which has nothing to do with you. We'll watch and see. I don't necessarily think he should be up there because he can be isolated, and I think he is isolated. Even if he's not isolated, though, our Ryan rotates out of his LOS, which is kind of mutual. Oh, nasty wall. If you want to be Giga Brain, you can use a wall that's, like, long ways instead of wide ways. Because then they'll have to break more than one segment of it when going through a door. But it would be more difficult to get proper placement, so this wall will obviously get the job done. This is a free kill. You put freeze pressure on him. You have no fear of taking one hammer swing, because that means he's not shielding. Perfect. As May, it's not Ryan can't hammer swing me. It's if he hammer swings me, he'll instantly die. Take those. They break the wall segment. Unfortunate that he hits that. You don't know, tragically, that he's 1 HP. I don't know if that was calmed or not. I wish it was. You could have just killed him with like a split sec, with like a single tick even of freeze. Nope. Headshot doesn't kill him because of the BAP healing. Also unfortunate. The Reinhardt's already back because of the spawn advantage. And your Reinhardt's getting crushed because they give healing LOS. I don't really know where other people were during this fight. Like, everybody is dealing with their diva. Diva's at a mech. Where's our damage? Where's everybody? Yeah, going under here for safety is going to backfire because BAP does not have LOS. And your Ryan is barely getting healed. And gets Diva squished, and you're gonna lose. Okay. I don't think there was too much you can do there. I wish there had been more teammates actually more where you were. Run away. You can't really do anything to help them get out, except maybe do a long-range wall, but I wouldn't even worry about it. Just poke and run. This is fine. Your team has still a lot of ults. With the card at that distance, you could maybe just route under here and go to it like this as a team, and then Blizzard. But say you have Blizzard, you can suggest going straight to card, but somebody else will probably be concerned with pathing. They have a lot of stuff too. I'm curious how we win this actually. They're gonna have to whip tire. That one's okay. I like that it gets thrown right away because the Diva can't eat it. Although it actually was close, they almost broke that. Double stack freeze on him, good. This is the first time I think I might have ever seen one of you guys break a Junkrat trap. So, you have gold Junkrat traps broken. That's pretty hard to hit, that's fine. Why is he not rip-tiring? I guess they called it lost. Maybe they should have. They waited way too long to rip-tire. See? Same mistake as I was talking about. They need to throw that rip-tire earlier. Look at all that shit they had. Oh my god, those ults are scary. They didn't use a single one. Well, they used High Noon, which is their weakest of the 4 ults that they had. Now he's dead. Yep, okay. Oh no. It's the classic, you waited too long and now it's too long. Oh! So early, so early. That Riptire is miles away from you. At least bait it. Nice shot. I think your teammate can get it. Oh, watch where he goes. Watch where he goes. Watch where he goes. Oh, so this is actual game sense. It's not a particularly fancy example of it, but notice that, well, I don't know who else is watching this. I sometimes talk as though I'm talking to the team and sometimes talk as though I'm talking just to you. Why is this important? Because you go here way before Skade Sonics it. See? Because you know where he's going to go. This is vital. So much of the game is based around this. A lot of what I'm talking about in these ROD reviews is just more examples of things like this that you can start thinking about to sort of build this skill and add more ways to do stuff like this. Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, see? Very nice. And I think we cap, but it's like one long fight, or it might be 2 fights. Kind of hard to sync that up properly when you have to jump. I can't tell you how to do it. You probably just have to do it. You just have to know how long it takes, and then time to jump accordingly. This wall should not do much. You still don't dismiss it. This wall should not do much because they should just go to their left anyways. But for some reason, that guy dies. Now dismiss... you probably should now dismiss it because it's blocking your teammate's window. See how early that ice block is again? You are not playing, basically, while you're ice blocked like that. And you had a little bit extra time. Like, you have a time to actually try to shoot the baby diva and kill her one hit with the ice sickle. In this situation, yeah, difficult. But the point is, like, you have anything you can possibly do for 2 seconds, you can now do, instead of just sitting in ice block and watching. And ooh, very good try. He should still die. Nice, okay. But I think this is getting reset. Yep, wall. Okay, good enough. Making the wall not perfectly placed to get it up the millisecond you can is the right thing to do in that situation. Your diva should not stay invested. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. How is he not demeched? Okay. Now we have a good fight in Yu-Gi-Oh! Blizzard. Poking to get the last bit of it. Nice. That's 6% right there. I would try to apply freeze pressure. Freeze pressure. Yep. Even put freeze pressure on Diva, because if Diva freezes, you're free Blizzard. This is risky, but this is what I want to see. Get him. Look at. He's turned his shield away from your entire team to focus on you. You could die here. You probably will need ice block in a second. What stunned you? Casted, right? He doesn't have stun. That was actually a little too greedy, but I prefer too greedy right now. But, oh, wait. Wait a minute. Nah. Instantly break your ice block when you see the defense on the floor and throw Blizzard. You wait. You waited a really long time. That Matrix is so close to you when you throw it now. That was risky. They're still going to freeze now, though. Ryan's free. Got him. I think you guys win, but this takes 10 minutes to clean up. It is... That's fine. You were perfectly safe. You should cover, but fine. That's very hard to hit. Freeze pressure, good. You can wall that. Yep, good. And you can't wall that. Okay, he wastes that. Wow. You got your ice block back just in time. You didn't need it. Once again, it's kind of trigger happy. Oh, that was an unfortunate time to run out of ammo. The baby diva does need to die, but you might want to put someone else on this job so that you can get on the Rhine. I think you might say, yeah, you're saying energy much. You need to separate him from his map with the wall. He's windowing now. You need to wall. No, wall. That time you just did it at full HP. I guess because you're scared of getting blasted by the window, but don't worry only about yourself. You need to wall that. He's the only one behind it. See, that was good, but you should have done that and then maybe ice block. You ice block didn't do anything. Now there's no ice block for that. I still think we win, but the game ends, so I don't know. We might have lost with like 2 meters to go. No, he's dead. Okay, we probably win. Okay, we definitely won that. You are very afraid of ice blocking late, but you had only 2 deaths as Mei, and neither of them had anything to do with ice blocking late. I would worry less about ice blocking late. That's like a micro thing, but I would worry less about ice blocking late. If anything, you want to ice block the last second to block stuff, because it is mainly just to protect yourself, and so keep that uptime. Like, shoot the baby diva and then ice block, or just as an example, right? Other stuff. I think the walls are pretty good. Like, the percentage of walls that are right where they need to be is pretty high, and the percentage of walls that are slightly off but still get something positive accomplished is also pretty high. There's almost no walls that whiffed. So I wouldn't be worried about that so much. Blizzard will get harder to set up as you face higher ranked opponents, because you do sometimes miss opportunities to disable their diva first, or just generally aren't sensitive to where their diva is. And that wasn't an issue, but it could become an issue, just depending on the skill level of that player on the other team. This is very micro-focused, and I can't resist making my DPS reviews very micro-focused. I feel like my intent continues to be not give you an overarching playstyle, because often you guys are at a point where you know the overarching playstyle. It's thinking about the game the way that players who play in scrims think about the game, and thinking about the game the way that somebody who is maybe 1 or 2 ranks higher than you thinks about the game. Because those are the 2 skills that you can realistically pick up that make a difference. Which is not to say that I won't look at macro stuff, but that's what a lot of my intention is here. Okay, so I'll wrap up there, and then I'll go on to the other one.